The eastern canyon wall erupts. Machine gun fire tears through the courtyard. 14 Navy SEALs dive for cover that doesn't exist. Master Chief Ryan Walker hits the frozen ground as rounds snap past his head. This is a kill box. They walk straight into it. 620 meters up the mountain, Sergeant Maya Carter steadies her breathing. Her finger rests on the trigger of a rifle that's not supposed to be here. A rifle she's not supposed to have. In a position she was directly ordered not to take. She can save them all, or she can follow orders. The first target drops at 0.3 seconds. The machine gunner on the eastern ridge. He never sees it coming. The suppressed crack of Maya's rifle is swallowed by the chaos below. Target 2. The RPG team leader reaching for his launcher. Down. Target 3. The spotter beside him. Down. This is what 14 years of being invisible looks like when it stops hiding. 18 hours earlier, Maya stood in the briefing room at Malmstrom Air Force Base. Not at the table. Never at the table. Against the back wall where the support staff belongs. Master Chief Ryan Walker commanded the front of the room. 43 years old. 21 years of service. SEAL team leader with 3 combat deployments and the posture of a man who'd earned every scar. Mountain Covenant militia. 40 to 60 hostiles. They've held 12 civilian geological survey workers for 6 days in an abandoned mining complex in the Bitterroot Range. The satellite image on the screen showed a cluster of buildings ringed by canyon walls. Walker's laser pointer circled the main structure. We insert here at 0400. 2 clicks from target. Hike in. Extract the hostages. Exfil by 0630 before daylight makes us visible from the high ground. Maya's eyes weren't on the buildings. They were on the ridge lines, boot tracks, faint but visible in 48-hour-old imagery, leading up the eastern slope, equipment drag marks, positions that overlooked the approach corridor. Her hand went up. Walker's eyes flicked to her. Paused. Carter, the eastern ridge, Chief. Those tracks. Equipment moved to elevated positions. That's not patrol movement. That's emplacement. Specialist Danny Kowalski turned in his seat. 6'2", 3 combat tours. Smile like a knife. You a tactics expert now, Sergeant? I thought you were medical. I'm reading what's in the image. What you're reading is a patrol from 4 days ago. Walker's voice carried the weight of 2 decades telling junior personnel when to stop talking. The militia doesn't have the training for a coordinated ambush. They're farmers with rifles. We've run this pattern 40 times. Those drag marks suggest crew-served weapons, Chief, if they're positioned on that ridge. Thank you, Sergeant Carter. Not thank you as gratitude. Thank you as dismissal. Petty Officer Trent confirmed the approach vector. The man they called Trigger stood and moved to the screen. Maya's assessment died in the air. She looked at the image again. At the perfect overlapping fields of fire. At the kill box those positions would create if anyone approached the compound from the planned route. Walker was already moving on. We'll have air support on standby, but the weather window is tight. If we don't extract by 0630, the whole valley socks in, and we're walking out 20 miles through hostile territory. Maya stopped listening to the words. She studied the map, calculated distances, wind patterns in mountain corridors, sight lines from the ridge to the courtyard. If she was wrong, she was paranoid support staff wasting everyone's time. If she was right, 14 men were walking into an execution. The briefing ended. The SEALs stood, checked gear, started the pre-mission routine that had kept them alive through 100 operations. Maya walked to her staging area, opened her medical kit, 45 pounds of trauma equipment, tourniquets, hemostatic agents, airway management for supplies. She pulled the false bottom. Underneath, in custom cut foam, lay the rifle, custom built over 18 months with an Army armor who didn't ask questions. Suppressed, cold weather optimized, zeroed to her breathing pattern and her eye alone, broken down into 4 components that nested perfectly in the hidden compartment. She'd carried it on 11 operations, never assembled it once. Her hand rested on the stock. Corporal Emily Brooks appeared beside her, 26, intelligence specialist, the only other woman on the transport manifest. You sure? No. Walker will end your career if you're wrong. Walker will be dead if I'm right. Emily looked at the rifle. At Maya. What you need? Spotting. If it happens, that's a court-martial. That's Tuesday. Maya closed the kit. Sealed it. The weight felt the same. 45 pounds of medical gear. Or 45 pounds of the only argument she'd ever trusted. The helicopter inserted them at 0347. Temperature at -7 Celsius. Snow knee-deep. The rotors disappeared south, leaving 14 SEALs and 2 Army support personnel in absolute silence. Walker's hand signals were economical. Trent took point. The formation moved. Maya stayed at the rear, her assigned position, where medical stays until needed. Emily fell in beside her, said nothing, carried her pack in her silence like the professional she was. They covered the first kilometer in 18 minutes. The pace was brutal. Snow grabbed boots. The altitude, thin breath. No one slowed. At the rally point, Walker raised a fist. The column halted. He signaled Maya forward. She moved up, knelt beside him. His voice was subvocal. You stay at the casualty collection point. 200 meters from the perimeter. If we take contact, you do not advance. You do not move from this position unless I personally authorize it. Clear, clear, Chief. His eyes held hers for one extra second. I've read your file, Carter. All of it, including the parts that technically don't exist. I know what you can do, but this is a SEAL operation, and you are medical support. You follow orders. Understood. Understood. He moved back to point. The column advanced. Maya counted steps. At 420 meters from target, Walker signaled her halt position. A shallow depression behind a fallen tree. Decent cover. Clear sight line to the compound. Terrible position to provide covering fire. Perfect position to watch men die. The SEALs move forward. Shadows in the darkness. Professionals who'd done this so many times it looked like choreography. Maya opened her kit. Emily crouched beside her, binoculars up, scanning the ridgeline. Anything? Maya whispered. Too dark. Can't confirm. Maya's hands moved through the medical supplies. Found the false bottom. Her fingers traced the outline of the rifle components beneath. She watched Walker's element reach 100 meters from the compound. 50 meters. 25. The courtyard was empty. Walker signaled the breaching team forward. Every instinct Maya had learned in 14 years of service screamed. Her hands opened the false bottom. 60 seconds to assemble. 18 months of practice in darkness until her fingers knew every surface. Stock to lower receiver. Upper receiver locked. Bolt carrier group. Charging handle. Optic mount. She didn't need light. She needed memory. Emily's binoculars stayed locked on the ridge. Maya, I see it. Movement. Just a shadow. But shadows don't move uphill in windless cold. 45 seconds. Magazine seated. Chamber check. Suppressor torqued. The rifle came alive in her hands like an extension of her nervous system. Call it, Maya breathed. Emily's voice was surgical. Eastern ridge. Multiple positions. I count. Jesus. I count at least 6. Walker's team was at the compound entrance. 12 seconds from stepping into the courtyard. Maya keyed her radio. Vanguard 1, this is actual medical. Eastern ridge is active. Multiple armed. Walker's voice cut through. Actual medical, stay off this net. We have eyes on target. Stand by. Chief, you're walking into an... Stand down, Carter. We have this. The first SEAL stepped into the courtyard. Then the second. Then the eastern canyon wall opened fire. The sound is enormous. Not the sharp crack of rifles, but the industrial roar of a crew-served machine gun tearing the world apart. Muzzle flashlights up the ridge like lightning. Walker's voice on the radio. Controlled but urgent. Contact east. Crew-served weapon. High ground. All elements find cover. There is no cover. The courtyard is a killing floor, and they're standing in the center. Maya's rifle is already up. The scope finds a muzzle flash. Find the gunner. Finds a half-second gap between the gunner's head and the rock he's braced against. She breathes out. The trigger breaks. 620 meters away. The machine gun goes silent. Walker's team sprints for the building wall. Rounds chase them. Kick up frozen dirt. One SEAL goes down. Reyes. He's up again in 2 seconds, cradling his hand, moving. Emily's voice is calm as a surgeon's. Second position. 11 o'clock from the first. RPG team. Maya scope swings. Finds 2 men. One holding the launcher. One directing. The director is talking into a radio. Coordinating. He drops first. The launcher operator turns, confused, reaching for the radio his spotter just released. He doesn't reach it. Mortar position 30 meters above the RPG team. Emily says, 2 personnel. Maya finds them. They're dropping a round down the tube. The first one falls as a round fires. The second one stares at his partner's collapse for a full second before Maya's next round solves his confusion. The mortar round impacts 40 meters from Walker's position. Too far left. There won't be a correction shot. Walker's voice cuts through the radio traffic. Carter, where are you? Maya keys the mic. Eastern Ridge. I have eyes on 6 positions. Neutralized. A pause. 1 second. 2. Do it. Permission granted. Orders reversed. The leash removed. Maya's world narrows to the scope, the wind, the math. Emily calls targets like she's reading a grocery list. High position, 2 o'clock. Rifle. Stationary. Maya fires. The target drops. Movement left. Second shooter. Range, 620. Fire. Drop. Third position, lighting up. Muzzle flash, center ridge. Fire. The flash stops. Below. Walker's team is returning fire now. Organized. Controlled. The SEALs are doing what SEALs do, turning chaos into calculated violence. But they're still pinned, still taking fire from positions they can't see. Maya can see them all. Vehicle position, far left. Emily calls. Technical with mounted gun. Crew of 3. The technical is partially hidden behind a rocky outcrop. The gunner is traversing the weapon toward Walker's position. 20 seconds until he has the angle. Maya targets the gunner first. He slumps over the weapon. The loader reaches to pull him away. Falls across him. The driver starts to bail out of the cab. Doesn't make it. Repositioning. Emily says, right side ridge. I count 4. Maybe 5. They're pulling back. Maya tracks them. They're moving tactically. Covering each other. Not panicked. Trained. She takes the lead man. The second. The third goes to ground behind cover. Smart enough to stop moving. The fourth keeps running. Not smart enough. The fifth makes it behind a rock formation. Stays there. Alive because he stopped being a threat. Walker's voice. Martinez is hit. Leg wound. Dominguez took one in the abdomen. Maya's shooting slows. Not stops. Slows. Emily, you have the scope. I can't. You qualified expert marksman. You can hold security. Maya hands off the rifle. Grabs her medical kit. Starts down the slope. Maya. Walker said don't move. Walker said do it. Medical emergency overrides hold position. It's not true. It's also not false. It's the argument she's making to herself as her boots slide down 60 meters of loose rock and ice and darkness. She hits the bottom. Keys her radio. Vanguard 1. Actual medical moving to your position. Negative, stay. Walker's voice cuts off. Different voice. Trent. Chief's hit. Shrapnel, left upper chest. He's still in command, but he's bleeding. Maya is already running. 200 meters in snow and darkness, carrying 45 pounds. Her lungs burn. Her legs scream. She doesn't slow. She reaches the building. A SEAL she doesn't know yanks her into cover. Medical's here. Walker is propped against the wall. His hand pressed to his chest below the clavicle. Blood between his fingers. His face pale, but his eyes sharp. Dominguez first, he says. Maya looks. Dominguez is on his back. Specialist Rodriguez has pressure on his abdomen. The kid is 24 in his face, says he knows exactly how bad abdominal GSWs can get. I need both, Maya says. Emily's on overwatch. She'll keep the ridge suppressed. As if on cue, the distant crack of Maya's rifle sounds. Once. Twice. Walker's eyes register it. Register what it means. He nods. Maya moves to Dominguez first because Walker ordered it, and because the abdomen wound is a faster bleed. She peels Rodriguez's hands back. The entry wound is left lower quadrant. No exit. She packs it. Pressure dressing. For line in his right arm. Fluids wide open. You're good, she tells Dominguez. He's gray and sweating, but he nods. She turns to Walker. Let me see. He moves his hand. The shrapnel entered below his left clavicle. Small entry wound, but his breathing is wrong. Fast. Shallow. His neck veins are distended. Tension pneumothorax. Air escaping into his chest cavity. Collapsing his lung. Pressure building. He's got minutes before his heart can't pump. I need to decompress your chest, Maya says. Walker nods. Can't waste breath on words now. Maya pulls a needle decompression kit. Finds a second intercostal space. Mid-clavicular line. This is going to hurt. She doesn't wait for acknowledgement. Inserts the catheter. The hiss of escaping air is immediate. Walker's breathing eases. Color returns to his face. You're stabilized. You need a hospital, but you'll make it. Walker's voice is rough but stronger. Martinez. She moves to Martinez. Both legs. Shrapnel wounds, multiple fragments. Bad but not lethal if she's fast. Tourniquets aren't needed. Pressure dressings. Hemostatic agents. Another 4-line. The rifle cracks again from up the ridge. Emily's doing her job. Trent appears. Hostages secured. 12 civilians, all ambulatory. Compound is clear, but we've got movement on the western approach. More militia responding. Walker tries to stand. Maya pushes him down. You're staying. The hell I am. The hell you are. You got a chest tube and a partially collapsed lung. You stand up wrong and I have to do this again. She looks at Trent. How long to exfil? Hellos are inbound. For minutes. For minutes. Maya looks at the 3 casualties. At the 12 civilians now huddled in the compound. At the ridge where Emily is alone with a rifle and targets that might decide to rush her position. We need to move to the LZ. Trent says. These 3 can't walk fast. Then we carry them. The SEALs don't hesitate. They're already rigging carries. Dominguez on a makeshift litter. Martinez supported between 2 operators. Walker refuses a carry. Walks on his own, one hand on his chest. Maya keys her radio. Emily, we're moving to exfil. For minutes. I have 7 contacts moving up the western slope. They're going to beat you there. Maya looks at Walker. He heard it. He's doing the math. 7 hostiles between them and the landing zone. 3 casualties. 12 terrified civilians. Not enough shooters. His eyes meet Maya's. Can she hold them? She can slow them. She can't stop them. Walker's jaw sets. He keys the radio. All Vanguard elements. Push to LZ. Weapons free on western approach. We go loud. We go fast. We go now. They move. It's not graceful. The 2 SEALs carrying Dominguez slip twice in the snow. Martinez is biting back screams with every step. The civilians bunch together, slowing everything. Maya stays at the rear. Rifle up. Scanning. The first hostile appears at 200 meters, raising a weapon toward the column. Maya fires. He falls. The second and third appear together, flanking. Smart. Emily's rifle takes one. Maya takes the other. For more. Emily's voice. Spread out. They know where I am now. They know where Maya is too. Round snap past. Kick up snow beside her. She drops to one knee. Returns fire. Doesn't know if she hits. Doesn't have time to confirm. She's up and moving. Catching up to the column. The helicopters appear. 2 Blackhawks. Low and fast. Rotors hammering. The landing zone is a flat clearing 200 meters ahead. Might as well be 2 miles. Walker's on the radio, guiding them in. His voice controlled despite the pain. Despite the blood. This is what 21 years looks like under pressure. The hellos flare. Touchdown. Ramps drop. Move, move, move. Trent is pushing civilians toward the birds. They run. Stumble. Run again. The casualties go first. Dominguez loaded. Martinez carried aboard. Walker waves off help, walks himself up the ramp. Maya turns. Keys the radio. Emily, Collapse now. We're loaded. I see them. They're at 150 meters from your position. Coming fast. Leave the rifle. Run. A pause. Like hell. Maya smiles despite everything. Then run fast. She boards a helicopter. Turns. Raises her rifle. Provides cover. Emily appears. Sprinting through snow with the rifle and her pack. 60 pounds of gear. She's gasping. Legs driving. 50 meters. 25. Rounds chase her. Maya fires back. Doesn't aim for targets. Aims for suppression. Making them duck. Making them slow. Emily hits the ramp. Hands grab her. Pull her in. Go! Trent hammers the hull. The helicopter lifts. Rounds ping off the armor. 1, 2. Then they're up and away, and the Bitterroot Range is falling away below. Maya collapses against the hull. Her hands are shaking. Adrenaline debt coming due. Walker is across from her. Chest tube still in. Face pale. He's looking at her. You called it, he says. Yes, Chief. I didn't listen. No, Chief. He's quiet for 10 seconds. The rotors fill the silence. I was wrong. Maya doesn't answer. Doesn't need to. Kowalski is sitting 3 feet away. The specialist who mocked her in the briefing room. He's staring at his boots. Then he looks up, looks at Maya. I'm sorry, Sergeant. I was out of line. In the briefing. And before. Maya nods. Appreciated. No, I mean it. You save our asses. All of us. He looks around. Anyone disagrees, you can take it up with me. No one disagrees. Emily is beside Maya now, drinking water, hand steady. 27, she says quietly. What? I counted. 27 targets down. Drone footage will confirm, but I'm pretty sure. Maya looks at her rifle. 19 rounds fired. Emily fired 8. 27 targets neutralized in 9 minutes 40 seconds. The numbers don't mean anything. What means something is Walker across from her, still breathing, because she put a needle in his chest. Dominguez within 4 running. Stable because she packed the wound fast enough. Martinez with his legs intact because tourniquets aren't always the answer. Everyone's coming home, Maya says. Emily leans her head back. Yeah, everyone is. The helicopter carries them south, toward Malmstrom, toward the debrief that's going to be complicated, toward whatever comes next. Maya closes her eyes, lets herself feel it. The weight, the cost, the impossible choice she made on that ridge. She defied a direct order, violated her assigned position, took unauthorized action that could end her career. She'd do it again in a heartbeat. The helicopter touches down at Malmstrom at 0721. The sun is just breaking over the mountains. Medical teams are waiting on the tarmac with gurneys. Dominguez goes first, then Martinez. Walker tries to walk off under his own power. The flight medic physically blocks him. Sir, with respect, you have a chest tube and you just flew for 40 minutes at altitude with a pneumothorax. You're getting on the gurney. Walker looks at Maya. She nods. He surrenders, lets them load him. As they wheel him past, he catches her arm. Don't go anywhere. We're not done talking. Yes, Chief. The medical teams disappear into the building. The SEALs file out, headed for debrief. Kowalski nods to Maya as he passes. Trent gives her a fist bump. Small gestures. Enormous shift. Emily stands beside her, both of them still holding their rifles. You think we're in trouble? Oh, absolutely. Career-ending trouble? Probably. Emily considers this. Worth it. Maya looks at the doorway where they took Walker, where Dominguez and Martinez rolled through, alive, stable, go to recover fully. Yeah, worth it. They walk to the armory, clear their weapons. Maya breaks down her rifle, pieces fitting back into the false bottom of her medical kit, like they were never there. Emily racks her borrowed rifle, signs it back in. The armorer, a grizzled staff sergeant named Coleman, watches Maya work. He built half that rifle with her over 18 months of after-hours work. He knows exactly what just happened. How'd she run? He asks. Perfect. Not a single malfunction. Good. He takes the kit. Pauses. Colonel Reed wants to see you. Both of you. Building 7, second floor. Colonel Sandra Reed, lead trauma physician. 16 years running combat medicine. She's who evaluates every field medical decision that comes through Malmstrom. Maya and Emily exchange looks. Here it comes. They walk to Building 7. The base is waking up. Personnel moving between buildings. The normal rhythm of a military installation where yesterday's crisis is today's paperwork. Second floor. Colonel Reed's office. The door is open. She's behind her desk, reading something on her screen. Looks up when they enter. Carter. Brooks. Sit. They sit. Reed studies them. She's 48. Combat deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. Sharp eyes have seen everything medical can do and fail to do in a war zone. I've read the initial incident report, she says. 3 casualties. All stable. 1 tension pneumothorax successfully decompressed in field conditions under fire. 1 abdominal GSW managed and stabilized. 1 complex shrapnel wound with dual leg involvement. No arterial compromise. 12 civilians extracted without injury. 0 friendly Kia. She pauses. I've also read the tactical report. 27 hostile combatants neutralized. Prepared ambush dismantled. Coordinated defensive fire from an unauthorized position. Another pause. Sergeant Carter, you were ordered to remain at the casualty collection point. You disobeyed that order. Explain. Maya keeps her voice level. I assess the tactical situation as critically time-sensitive. The eastern ridge positions had clear fields of fire on the SEAL element. Intervention from my position was the only viable option to prevent mass casualties. Your medical support, not a designated marksman, not a sniper. You carried an unauthorized weapon into an operation. Yes, ma'am. That weapon was concealed in your medical kit using a custom false bottom. Premeditated. Yes, ma'am. Reed's expression doesn't change. Corporal Brooks, you assisted Sergeant Carter. You served as her spotter. You also fired on hostile targets. Your intelligence support, not combat arms. Explain your decision. Emily's voice is steady. Sergeant Carter identified a threat that I assessed as credible. When the ambush initiated, I provided support that directly contributed to mission success and personnel survival. I would make the same choice again, ma'am. Reed leans back in her chair. The silence stretches. Master Chief Walker filed a commendation, she says, before his surgery, while sitting in a hospital gown with a chest tube still in place. He wrote it himself. Refused to let anyone else draft it. He specifically named both of you. He also specifically noted that he ignored your initial warning and that his judgment failure nearly cost 14 lives. She turns her screen, shows him the document. Walker's signature at the bottom, shaky but clear. A SEAL team leader doesn't file paperwork admitting command failure unless the situation is extraordinary. And he doesn't commend subordinates who disobeyed direct orders unless those subordinates save his life and the lives of his entire team. Reed closes the document. You're both restricted to base pending a formal review. You'll provide full statements. There will be an inquiry. This will take weeks to resolve. Understood, ma'am. Maya says, however. Reed stands, walks around the desk, stops in front of them. Off the record, purely personal opinion. You did the right thing. You read the situation correctly. You acted decisively. You brought everyone home. That matters more than any regulation you violated. She extends her hand. Maya shakes it. Then Emily. Dismiss. They leave. Walk down the hallway. Out into the morning sun. Emily lets out a breath. That could have gone worse. It's not over. The inquiry is going to be thorough. Think they'll kick us out? Maya considers. Walker's commendation carries weight. And we have results. But we broke rules. Big ones. Could go either way. They walk back to their barracks. Other personnel nod as they pass. Word travels fast on a military base. By now everyone knows. 2 Army support personnel. A SEAL team. 27 targets. Everyone home alive. The story is spreading. Maya can feel in the looks, the nods, the shift in how people track them as they walk. She's been invisible for 14 years. Deliberately, invisibility was safety, was freedom to operate without the weight of expectation. That's over now. In the barracks, Maya showers, changes into clean utilities, lies on her bunk and stares at the ceiling. Her grandfather taught her to shoot when she was 9 years old. In the hills outside Prescott, Arizona, he was a Marine. Korea, Vietnam, 3 Purple Hearts, and a Bronze Star he never talked about. He taught her holdover and windage before he taught her algebra. Taught her that the rifle doesn't care what anyone thinks. It only cares what you can do. He died 6 years ago, 81 years old. The last thing he told her, skill is the only argument that can't be shouted down. She spent 14 years proving that, quietly, in the margins, doing the work without the credit, because the work mattered more than recognition. Yesterday, she stopped being quiet. The consequences are coming. The inquiry, the review, the possibility that she saved 14 lives and ended her career in the same night. She closes her eyes, sleeps for 4 hours without dreaming. When she wakes, there's a note slipped under her door. Official stationery. Brigadier General Marsh's office. Report at 1,600 hours. Emily has one too. Identical. The general, Emily says, that's big. Yeah. They report at 1,600. Building 1. Top floor. The aide shows them into Marsh's office. Brigadier General Robert Marsh is 56. Command experience in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria. 1 star. Responsibility for all special operations support personnel in the Northern Command region. He doesn't invite them to sit. I've reviewed the incident, he says. All footage, all statements. The drone feed captured the entire engagement. 27 hostile targets confirmed. Firing solutions that are being studied by our advanced marksmanship units as examples of precision engagement under combat conditions. He pauses. I've also reviewed your service records. Sergeant Carter, 14 years, multiple deployments, classified as medical and civilian communication support, but your actual qualification scores place you in the top 12 long-range shooters currently serving in the U.S. military. Maya says nothing. That information is supposed to be classified. Corporal Brooks, 6 years, intelligence specialist, expert marksman, fluent in Pashto and Dari, deployed 4 times. Also classified below your actual capability. Marsh walks to the window, looks out over the base. We have a systemic problem. Female personnel being routed through programs that technically don't exist and then classified in roles that don't reflect their actual skills. This serves no one. Not the military, not the mission, not the personnel being underutilized. He turns back. I'm initiating a review. Command level. Every support classification is going to be audited against actual qualifications. If we have operators classified as support because they don't fit someone's idea of what an operator should look like, that ends now. Emily's eyes widen slightly. Maya keeps her face neutral. This will take time, Marsh continues. Months, maybe longer. The bureaucracy is thick and it resists change. But yesterday you proved that competence matters more than classification. That the right person in the right position at the right time saves lives. He looks at Maya directly. The inquiry will clear you. Both of you. I'm personally ensuring that. You disobeyed orders. You also exercised sound tactical judgment under emergency conditions. Master Chief Walker's commendation supports that. My endorsement supports that. This will not end your careers. Maya allows herself a breath. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me. You did the work. I'm just making sure the institution recognizes it. He picks up a folder, hands it to Maya. Your service record is being corrected. Your actual qualifications are being formally recognized. Corporal Brooks, yours as well. He sits down. You're both on 72-hour stand down. Rest. Recover. Report back Monday for reassignment briefing. Dismiss. They salute. He returns it. They leave. In the hallway, Emily looks at the folder in Maya's hands. Are you going to open it? Maya opens it, reads the first page. Her eyes track the text. The corrected classifications. The acknowledgement of qualifications that have been buried for over a decade. It's real, she says quietly. We're not getting kicked out. No, we're not. They walk outside. The sun is setting over the mountains. The same mountains where yesterday they were shooting to save lives. Where Emily was calling targets and Maya was making impossible shots in darkness and wind. Where 14 SEALs were walking into a kill box and 2 women who weren't supposed to be there stopped it. You ever think about what happens next? Emily asks, after this? No idea. Think it'll actually change things? Or is this just one general making noise? Maya looks at the folder, at her name, at the words that finally match what she can do. I think Marsh means it. But the institution is big and it moves slow. Real change takes years. So what do we do? Maya thinks about her grandfather. About 18 months building a rifle in secret. About 14 years of being invisible and effective. About one night where invisible stopped being an option. We keep doing the work. She says, we prove it every day. And when the next impossible situation comes, we make the call and we live with it. Emily nods. Works for me. They walk back to the barracks. The base is quiet now. Evening settling. Somewhere Walker is recovering from surgery. Dominguez and Martinez are in hospital beds, stable, telling the story to anyone who'll listen. 12 civilian geological survey workers are home with their families. 27 militia fighters aren't going to ambush anyone else. And 2 women who were supposed to stay invisible are walking across an Air Force base with their names on commendations, and their records finally correct. Maya stops, looks back at the mountains. Emily stops beside her. You good? Yeah, I'm good. They go inside. 3 days later, Maya sits in a briefing room. Same building, different room, smaller. Just her, Emily, and a major from personnel named Kincaid. Kincaid is efficient. Laptop open. Files organized. Your reassignments. Sergeant Carter, you're being transferred to the Special Operations Medical Training Center at Fort Bragg. You'll be instructing advanced trauma procedures and tactical medicine. They've been requesting someone with your specific skill set for 18 months. Maya blinks. Fort Bragg. Teaching. Sir, I'm currently underutilized at Malmstrom. Your corrected record reflects capabilities that are wasted on routine support rotations. Fort Bragg needs instructors who've actually done the work under fire. You qualify. He slides a folder across. Orders. Transfer date. Reporting instructions. Corporal Brooks. You're being assigned to the Joint Intelligence Training Center at Fort Huachuca. Advanced tactical analysis and field intelligence integration. Your deployment record and language qualifications make you ideal for their next instructor cycle. Emily takes her folder, looks at Maya. Fort Bragg and Fort Huachuca are on opposite sides of the country. You'll both have 2 weeks to process, relocate, and report. Kincaid says, questions. Maya has 100. Asks none of them. No, sir. Dismissed. Outside, Emily is quiet until they're away from the building. Then, instructor positions. That's a promotion without the rank. You think it's real? Or are they moving us sideways to bury this? Maya considers. Fort Bragg is the center of Army Special Operations. If they wanted to bury her, they'd send her to a supply depot in Kansas. I think it's real. You gonna take it? Are you? Emily looks at her orders. Fort Huachuca. Teaching intelligence officers how to not get people killed. Yeah. I think I am. They walk. Process. The base is the same as it was 3 days ago. The personnel, the buildings, the routine. But everything feels different. That night, Maya packs. Not much to pack. 14 years in the military teaches you to keep life portable. Uniforms, gear, a few books, photos of her grandfather. The rifle is already broken down, stored in the false bottom of her kit. She'll take it to Bragg. Build another one if she needs to. The skill is in her hands, not the weapon. There's a knock. She opens the door. Walker is standing there. He's out of the hospital, wearing utilities, moving carefully. The chest tube is out, but he's still healing. Chief, you should be resting. Been resting for 3 days. Doctors cleared me for light duty. He looks past her into the room, at the half-pack gear. Heard you're transferring. Orders came through today. He nods, steps inside. She closes the door. I wanted to say this face to face. Walker says, Not in a report. Not through channels. You were right. I was wrong. I let experience make me arrogant, and I almost got my team killed because I didn't listen to the smartest person in the room. Chief, let me finish. His voice is firm but not harsh. I've been doing this for 21 years. I've run over 100 operations. I've worked with some of the best operators in the world. And I walked into a kill box because I assumed I knew better than support staff. He looks at her directly. You're not support staff. You're one of the most capable operators I've ever seen. What you did on that ridge, the shots you made, the decisions under pressure, that's elite level performance. And the fact that you've been buried in support roles for 14 years is a failure of the system. Maya doesn't know what to say. I did my job, Chief. You did my job. You read the threat. You made the call. You executed perfectly. Then you came down under fire and saved my life with a chest tube you placed in the dark while rounds were incoming. He pauses. That's not support. That's leadership. He extends his hand. It's been an honor serving with you, Sergeant Carter. Fort Bragg is lucky to get you. She shakes his hand. His grip is firm. Thank you, Chief. One more thing. He pulls a small box from his pocket, opens it. Inside is a commander's coin, SEAL team insignia, Walker's name engraved on the back. These are personal. I give them to operators who've earned my respect. You've earned it twice over. He hands it to her. You're not a SEAL, but you've got the mindset, the skill, the courage. If things were different, if the system was what it should be, you'd have a trident. Maya takes the coin, feels the weight of it. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything. Just keep doing what you do. Keep proving that competence is what matters. And when someone tells you that you don't belong somewhere, prove them wrong. He nods, leaves. Maya sits on her bunk, looks at the coin, turns it over in her hands. 14 years. Invisible, effective, unrecognized. One night, 27 targets. A chest tube under fire. Everything changed. She's not sure if that's good or bad yet. Change is complicated. Recognition comes with weight, with expectation, with the end of invisibility that kept her safe. But Walker's words echo. Leadership, honor, respect. Maybe it's worth it. The next morning, she finishes packing. Emily helps. They load Maya's truck. The gear fits easily. Everything she owns in one vehicle. You can keep in touch? Emily asks, you think I'd let you disappear? After you spotted 27 targets in the dark. Emily grins. Fair. Besides, we're both instructors now. We'll cross paths. Schools send people to each other. We'll make it work. They stand there. Two women who saved 14 lives together, who made impossible shots and impossible choices, and came out the other side with their careers intact. Thank you, Emily says, for trusting me on that ridge. You earned it long before that night. Still, thank you. Maya hugs her. Quick, professional, meaningful. Stay sharp, Corporal. You too, Sergeant. Maya drives out of Malmstrom at 0800. The mountains are clear. The same mountains where 4 days ago she would lie on a rock shelf with a rifle, making choices that could have ended everything. She passes the gate. Turn south. Fort Bragg is 2,000 miles away. She's got 2 weeks to get there. Time to drive, to think, to process what just happened and what comes next. The road stretches out. Empty, quiet. She drives. Somewhere behind her, Walker is recovering. Dominguez and Martinez are healing. 12 civilians are home. Emily is packing for Arizona. Somewhere ahead, Fort Bragg is waiting. A new assignment, new students, new expectations. Maya reaches into her pocket, feels the commander's coin, the weight of recognition she never asked for but earned anyway. She thinks about her grandfather, about what he'd say if he could see this. She thinks he'd say she did the work, that she made the hard call, that she didn't wait for permission to do what was right. That skill is the only argument that can't be shouted down. She drives south, toward whatever comes next. The rifle is in the back, broken down, hidden, ready if she ever needs it again. She hopes she never does. But if she does, she'll be ready. Fort Bragg feels different than Malmstrom. Bigger, denser. The operational tempo is visible everywhere. Helicopters constantly overhead. Ranges firing. Personnel moving with purpose. Maya reports on a Monday. 0800. The Special Operations Medical Training Center is on the west side of the base. A complex of buildings, classrooms, and trauma simulation labs. The director is a colonel named Hayes. 50s. Physician. Combat experience across 3 wars. He shakes her hand, firm and brief. Sergeant Carter, your reputation preceded you. Sir, I've read your corrected service record. I've also read Master Chief Walker's commendation. And I've seen the drone footage from Montana. He gestures to a chair. She sits. We train combat medics here. Navy corpsmen, Air Force PJs, some special operations personnel who need advanced medical skills. They're good, but they need to be better. The difference between good and better is measured in lives. He leans forward. You perform needle decompression under fire. You manage a complex abdominal GSW in a contested environment. You've made life or death medical decisions while simultaneously running a tactical counter-ambush. That's not theoretical. That's not simulation. That's reality. And that's what I need you to teach. Maya nods. Understood, sir. Your first class starts Wednesday. 18 students. Mix of Army medics and Navy corpsmen. Advanced trauma procedures. You'll cover tension pneumothorax, complex hemorrhage control, and field triage under fire. I want you to teach them what the manual doesn't cover. The decisions, the uncertainty, the pressure. Yes, sir. One more thing. Hayes stands, walks to the window. Some of these students are going to have a problem. You're female. You're younger than some of them. They'll wonder what you can teach them. He turns back. The first time that happens, you shut it down. Fast. Hard. Permanently. I don't tolerate that in my facility. But you need to establish it yourself. Show them why you're standing at the front of that classroom. Clear. Clear, sir. Good. Dismissed. Admin will get you set up. Welcome to Bragg. She spends 2 days preparing. Reviews lesson plans. Updates them based on her experience. Builds scenarios that match what she's actually faced. The classroom is standard. 30 seats. Projector. Whiteboard. Medical mannequins at the front for demonstration. Wednesday morning. 0800. 18 students file in. Mostly men. Ages ranging from early 20s to late 30s. Combat patches on shoulders. Deployment experience visible. They sit. Look at her. The assessment is immediate. She can see it in their faces. Questions. Doubt. Curiosity. Maya stands at the front. Doesn't introduce herself. Doesn't smile. Doesn't soften it. Tension pneumothorax. She says, you have a casualty. Shrapnel wound below the left clavicle. He's breathing fast. Shallow. His neck veins are distended. His trachea is deviating to the right. You have about 90 seconds before his heart stops. What do you do? A hand goes up. Young specialist. Early 20s. Needle decompression. Second intercostal space. Midclavicular line. Correct. Show me. She points at a mannequin. The specialist comes forward. Identifies the landmark. Mimes the insertion. Good. Maya says, now do in the dark. Under fire. With rounds impacting 10 feet away. While the casualty is trying to push your hands away because he's hypoxic and confused. While you're wondering if the next round has your name on it. The classroom goes quiet. That's the difference between knowing the procedure and executing it in combat. The manual teaches you the anatomy. Combat teaches you the rest. She pauses. I'm here to teach you the rest. She runs them through scenarios. Real ones. Based on Montana. Based on deployments they don't know about. She doesn't tell them the stories. She puts them in the situations. Your SEAL team is pinned in a courtyard. 3 casualties. 1 abdominal GSW. 1 bilateral shrapnel wounds to the legs. 1 chest wound. You're the only medical. Incoming fire. Dust and smoke. Radio traffic screaming. Who do you treat first? They discuss. Argue. She lets them, then she breaks it down. Triage logic. Time management. Resource allocation under pressure. By the end of the first class, They're not looking at her like a question mark anymore. They're taking notes. One student stays after. Older, Staff Sergeant, Ranger Tab, Sergeant Carter. That chest decompression scenario. That was specific. You've done that. Yes. Recently? Recently enough. He nods. Good to know. Thank you. Word spreads. It always does. By the second week, her classroom is full. Students from other courses sit in the back, auditing. They want to see what the sergeant from Montana teaches. She doesn't talk about Montana. She doesn't need to. The teaching does the work. 3 weeks in, a Navy corpsman challenges her. Sergeant, with respect, the protocol for abdominal GSW says to avoid packing in the field. But you're teaching packing. I'm teaching what works when the textbook situation doesn't match the actual situation. If you have immediate evac, sure, don't pack. If you're 2 hours from extraction in a hot zone and the casualty is bleeding out, you pack or you watch him die. I chose to pack. He lived. But the protocol is written by people who aren't getting shot at. I'm teaching you to make decisions when the protocol meets reality and reality wins. The corpsman nods, writes it down. After class, Hayes pulls her aside. I'm getting feedback. The students are calling this the best trauma course they've taken. They're saying you're teaching them how to think, not just how to perform procedures. That's the job, sir. It is, and you're doing it well. He pauses. I'm adding you to the senior instructor team. You'll be reviewing curriculum across all courses, making sure we're teaching reality, not just theory. It's a bigger role, more responsibility, more visibility. Maya accepts. Months pass. Fall turns to winter. She teaches. She refines. She builds scenarios that push students past their comfort into the place where real decisions are made. She gets emails from former students, deployed now, thanking her, telling her that what she taught saved a life, saved multiple lives. Those emails matter more than any commendation. In December, she gets a call from Emily. Fort Huachuca is going well. She's teaching intelligence officers how to read threats, how to trust their assessment, even when senior personnel dismiss it. You ever regret it? Emily asks. Montana, the choice. No. You? Not once. They talk for an hour. Catch up. Make plans to meet when schedules allow. In January, Maya gets new orders. Temporary duty. 3 months at the Naval Special Warfare Center in Coronado. Training SEAL candidates in combat medicine. Walker's influence. Probably. She doesn't ask. Doesn't matter. She reports to Coronado in February. The ocean is different than the mountains. The climate warmer. The operational culture distinct. But the work is the same. Teaching people to make impossible decisions under impossible pressure. She runs a class through a scenario. Mass casualty. Ambush. Limited supplies. Friction and chaos and lives in the balance. One of the candidates, a young officer candidate, asks, how you stay calm when everything is falling apart? Maya thinks about a rock shelf in Montana, about watching 14 men walk into a kill box, about the choice between orders and lives. You don't stay calm, she says. You feel the fear, the pressure, the weight, and you do the work anyway. You trust your training. You make the call, and you live with the consequences. What if you make the wrong call? Then you learn. You adapt. You make the next call better. But you don't freeze, because freezing is the only wrong call that you can't recover from. The candidates write it down. They'll carry it forward, into teams, into deployments, into moments where calm is impossible and decisions matter more than anything. Maya teaches for 3 months in Coronado, then returns to Bragg. The assignment is permanent now. Senior instructor, curriculum developer, subject matter expert. She's not invisible anymore. She's recognized, respected. Her name carries weight. It's different than the 14 years before, but it's not worse. In April, she gets a message. Walker is retiring. Ceremony at Naval Base Coronado. He's invited her. She flies out, sits in the audience, watches a man with 21 years of service step away from the teams. In his speech, he talks about leadership, about humility, about the importance of listening to the smartest person in the room, regardless of rank or role. He doesn't name her, doesn't need to. The people who know after the ceremony. They talk. What's next for you? She asks. Consulting, training, maybe teaching. He smiles. Heard you're pretty good at that. Learning as I go. Aren't we all? He looks at her. You made a difference, Carter, in Montana, and in every student you've taught since. That matters. So did you, Chief. You filed that commendation. You could have buried it. Buried me. I filed the truth. The rest was just the system catching up. They shake hands. Part ways. Walker toward retirement, and whatever comes next. Maya back to brag. Back to the classroom. Back to teaching people to survive the impossible. 2 years after Montana, Maya is running an advanced scenario. Night exercise. Live environment. Simulated casualties with moulage makeup that looks real enough to trigger stress responses. The students are experienced. Combat veterans. They've seen action. But this scenario is designed to break them. Multiple casualties. Degraded communications. Incoming fire simulation. Smoke. Noise. Chaos. She watches from the observation point. Takes notes. Sees who freezes. Who leads. Who makes the hard calls. One student, a young Army medic named Torres, is managing 3 casualties simultaneously. Prioritizing. Directing others. Staying calm. He reminds her of Emily. Same focus. Same ability to see through chaos. After the exercise, she pulls him aside. Good work in there. Thank you, Sergeant. You got the aptitude for this. Ever think about advanced roles? Special operations support? Torres hesitates. I've thought about it, but I'm not sure I'm qualified. You're qualified if you can do the work. The rest is just paperwork and politics. He nods. Thoughtful. Maya sees herself 2 years ago. Sees the doubt. The systematic underestimation. The gap between capability and recognition. Don't let anyone tell you that you don't belong somewhere, she says. If you can do the work, you belong. Period. Torres meets her eyes. Yes, Sergeant. She submits his name for the next advanced training cycle. Recommends him for evaluation. Uses the weight her name carries now to open doors that were closed to her for 14 years. It's not revenge. It's correction. It's making sure the next generation doesn't have to hide their skills in false bottom medical kits. In June, she gets an email from Brigadier General Marsh. The systemic review he initiated is complete. 47 female personnel have been reclassified, moved from support roles into positions that match their actual qualifications. The email thanks her, says that Montana was a catalyst, that her actions forced the institution to confront the gap between policy and practice. She reads it twice, then files it. The work matters more than the recognition, but the recognition enables more work, opens doors, creates opportunities. She'll take it. In September, she's invited to speak at a conference. Military medical personnel from all branches. Topic: decision-making under fire. She almost declines. Public speaking to hundreds of people is different than teaching a classroom of 18. But Emily calls. You have to do it. You have something to say. People need to hear it. So she goes. The conference is in San Antonio. The auditorium holds 300. It's full. Maya stands at the podium, looks at the audience, sees young medics, experienced corpsmen, officers, enlisted, people who've been deployed, people who will be. She tells them about Montana, not the glory, the decision. I had to choose between following orders and saving lives, between staying invisible and taking action, between protecting my career and protecting the people I was there to support. She pauses. I chose the mission. I chose the lives. And I was lucky that my decision worked. Lucky that I had the skills to execute. Lucky that the institution chose to recognize it instead of punish it. Another pause. Not everyone will be that lucky. Some of you will make the right call and get buried for it. Some of you will face situations where there is no right call, just bad options and worse ones. Some of you will do everything correctly and still lose people. The room is silent. What I can tell you is this. Trust your training. Trust your judgment. And when the moment comes, when you have to choose between a rule and a reality, choose what saves lives. Then live with the consequences. Because the alternative, following rules while people die, that's something you can't live with. She speaks for 20 minutes, takes questions for 30 more. Afterward, people line up, thank her, tell her stories, ask advice. One young woman, Army specialist, early 20s, asks, "How did you deal with being dismissed? With people not taking you seriously?" Maya thinks about Kowalski in the briefing room, about Walker ignoring her warning, about 14 years of being routed around the people who made decisions. I didn't deal with it. I just kept doing the work, kept proving it. Eventually the work speaks louder than the doubt, but it takes time. And it's not fair that you have to prove more than others. But that's the reality. So you prove it, and you help the next person prove it. And slowly things change. The specialist nods. "Thank you, Sergeant." Maya flies back to Bragg, back to the classroom, back to the work. 3 years after Montana, she's promoted, Staff Sergeant. It comes with a new assignment offer, Instructor Training Command. She'd be developing curriculum for the entire medical training enterprise. It's a desk job, important, influential, removed from the field. She thinks about it for a week, talks to Emily, talks to Hayes, talks to herself. She declines. "I'm more effective in the classroom," she tells Hayes, teaching people directly, seeing them get it, knowing they're going to carry it forward into situations that matter. Hayes doesn't argue. "I figured you'd say that. Just wanted to make sure you had the option." "I appreciate it, sir. You know you can't teach forever. Eventually they'll promote you into administration, whether you want it or not. Then I'll deal with that when it comes. For now, I'm good where I am." She is good, better than good. The work fits. The students need her. She needs them. Teaching is its own kind of operation. Different targets, different stakes. Same core mission, getting everyone home alive. In November, for years after Montana, she gets a package. No return address. Inside is a photograph. It's the SEAL team from Montana. All 14 of them. Taken recently. They're holding a sign. "Everyone came home. Thank you, SGT Carter." Walker is in the center. Retired now, but still looking like a chief. Beside him, Dominguez and Martinez. Fully recovered. Still serving. On the back, a note in Walker's handwriting. "You taught us to listen. We're still learning. Respect always. R.W." Maya pins a photo to her office wall, next to her grandfather's photo, next to the commander's coin. Reminders of what matters, of why she does this. She teaches another class, and another. The students keep coming. She keeps teaching them to make impossible decisions, because impossible is just another word for necessary. And necessary is what she's built her career on. One student at a time, one decision at a time, one life at a time. The work continues. 5 years after Montana, Maya is in her office at Bragg when she gets a call from an unknown number. She almost doesn't answer, but something makes her pick up. "Sergeant Carter?" A woman's voice. Young, nervous, speaking. "This is Specialist Jen Matthews. I was in your class 2 years ago. Advanced trauma procedures." Maya remembers her. Quiet, focused, good hands. "I remember. What can I do for you, Matthews?" "I'm deployed. Afghanistan. We took contact yesterday. IED. 3 casualties. One of them had a tension pneumothorax. Shrapnel below the clavicle. Just like you taught." Maya's hand tightens on the phone. "I did the decompression. In the dark. Under fire. Everything you said. I felt the fear. I did it anyway. And he's alive, Sergeant. He's going to make it. Because of what you taught me." Maya closes her eyes. Breathes. "You did the work, Matthews. That was you. But you trained me. You showed me how. I wanted to say thank you." They talk for 5 more minutes. Then Matthews has to go. Back to the mission. Back to the fight. Maya sits in her office. Looks at the photo on the wall. At her grandfather. At the SEALs. This is why. Not the commendations. Not the corrected service record. Not the recognition. This, A voice on the phone saying, "He's alive because of what you taught me." This is what 14 years of invisibility was building toward. This is what Montana made possible. The teaching, the spreading of knowledge, the multiplication of effectiveness through every student who carries it forward. She teaches another year, then another. The students blur together, but the moments don't. The breakthroughs, the light in their eyes when they understand. The emails and calls from deployed personnel saying, "It worked. What you taught me worked." 7 years after Montana, Emily visits. She's a sergeant now, running her own training program at Huachuca. They get coffee on base, catch up, talk about students and deployments and the slow, grinding progress of institutional change. "You ever think about going back?" Emily asks. "To operations, to the field." "Sometimes, but I'm 40 now. My knees aren't what they were, and I'm more effective here. Still, miss it." Maya thinks about the rock shelf, the wind, the scope, the impossible choices, parts of it, the clarity, the directness. You make a decision, and you see the result immediately. She pauses. But teaching has its own clarity. You make a decision, what to teach, how to teach it, and years later someone calls and says it saved a life. That's pretty direct. Emily nods. "General Marsh retired last year. Did you hear?" "I heard." His replacement continued the review process. They reclassified over 200 personnel now. Open up roles that were closed before. "Good. You started that. Montana started that." Maya shakes her head. Montana was just one night. The system was going to change eventually. We just accelerated it. You accelerated it by making a choice, by refusing the order that would have gotten people killed. They sit in comfortable silence. Two women who made impossible shots in Montana darkness, who spotted for each other, who trusted each other when trust was the only thing standing between 14 SEALs and a kill box. "You ever regret it?" Emily asks. The same question from years ago. Maya's answer is the same. Not once. 8 years after Montana, Maya is teaching when Hayes pulls her out of class. You have a visitor. Conference room 2. She walks to the conference room, opens the door. Walker is sitting there, older, gray in his beard now, but still carrying that command presence. "Chief," she smiles. "Didn't know you were on base. Wasn't planning to be, but I was in the area and I wanted to see you." They sit, catch up. He's consulting now, training private sector security. "Doing well. I also want to give you this." He slides a folder across. She opens it. Inside is a photo, the team from Montana. But this one is different. It's from that night. Drone footage, frozen frame. It shows the rock shelf. 2 figures. One prone with a rifle, one beside her with binoculars. Maya and Emily, invisible from the ground, but crystal clear from above. Below the photo, text. When the system fails, individuals step up. When orders conflict with lives, courage chooses lives. This is leadership. It's signed by all 14 SEALs, by Walker, by the 12 civilians they extracted. "We wanted you to have this." Walker says, "We're all still serving, or retired and still contributing, because you made a choice, because you trusted your judgment over my orders." Maya looks at the photo, at herself 8 years younger, at Emily beside her, at the moment before she fired the first shot. "I was terrified," she says quietly. "That whole time, terrified I was wrong, terrified I'd miss, terrified that I'd end my career and still lose people. But you did it anyway. I did it anyway." Walker stands, extends his hand. "You taught me something that night, Sergeant. Humility, the importance of listening. I've carried that forward into every decision since. So thank you." She shakes his hand. "Thank you for filing that commendation, for not burying it. I filed the truth. That's all." He leaves. Maya sits with the photo, looks at it for a long time. Then she returns to class, back to teaching, back to the work. 10 years after Montana, Maya is a sergeant first class, senior instructor, curriculum director. She's trained over 3,000 students, received dozens of calls and emails from deployed personnel crediting her training with saving lives. She's 42, considering retirement, thinking about what comes next. But for now, she's in the classroom. 18 new students, fresh faces, some confident, some nervous, all of them here to learn how to save lives under impossible conditions. She stands at the front, looks at them. Tension pneumothorax. She begins. You have a casualty. Shrapnel wound below the left clavicle. He's breathing fast. Shallow. His neck veins are distended. You have about 90 seconds before his heart stops. What do? The class begins. The work continues. Somewhere, a former student is deployed, using what she taught, making the decision she modeled, choosing lives over rules, bringing everyone home. That student will teach others. Those others will teach more. The ripple spreads. The impact multiplies. Maya thinks about her grandfather, about skill being the only argument that can't be shouted down. She thinks about Montana, about the choice, about the consequences that turned out better than she deserved. She thinks about Emily at Huachuca, about Walker in retirement, about Marcia's systemic review, about 200 reclassified personnel getting opportunities they've been denied, about change happening slowly, then suddenly, then permanently. The class ends. Students file out. One stays back. A young woman, Army medic. Sergeant Carter, can I ask you something? Go ahead. How do you know when to trust yourself? When your assessment conflicts with what you're told. Maya recognizes the question. It's the same one she's been answering for 10 years. The same one she asked herself. You trust your training, your experience, your judgment. And if those three things align and tell you that the orders are wrong, then you make a choice. You either follow the orders and live with the consequences, or you do what you believe is right and accept the risk. What if you're wrong? Then you learn, you adapt, and you carry that lesson forward. But if you're right, and you did nothing because you were afraid of the consequences, that's harder to live with. The young medic nods. Thanks. Thank you, Sergeant. Anytime. The medic leaves. Maya packs up her materials, heads to her office. On the wall, her grandfather's photo. The commander's coin from Walker. The photo of the SEAL team. The drone footage from Montana. Reminders of where she came from. What she's done. Why it matters. She sits at her desk, starts planning tomorrow's lesson. The work continues. The mission evolves, but the core remains the same. Save lives. Train others to save lives. Make the hard calls. Live with the consequences. She's been doing it for 24 years now. 14 invisible. 10 recognized. Both versions mattered. Both contributed. But this version, where she can teach openly, where her skills are acknowledged, where students seek her out because they know what she's done and what she can teach them, this version reaches further. Invisible Maya saved lives directly. Recognized Maya saves lives through multiplication. She'll take it. The sun sets over Bragg. The ranges go quiet. The base settles into evening routine. Maya finishes her lesson plan, closes her laptop, looks out the window. Somewhere in Montana, there's a rock shelf on a cliff face, a position she held for 9 minutes and 40 seconds while the world exploded below. She hasn't been back, doesn't need to. She carries it with her. The fear, the clarity, the impossible choice that became the only choice. She carries it into every classroom, every lesson, every conversation with students who are learning to make their own impossible choices. And when they make those choices, when they call years later say, it worked, I saved a life, thank you, that's when she knows the choice was right. Not just for that one night in Montana, for every night since, for every student, every life, every ripple spreading outward. Maya turns off her office light, locks the door, walks out into the evening. Tomorrow there will be another class, more students, more decisions to teach. More lives to impact through the multiplication of knowledge. She's ready. She's been ready since she was 9 years old, learning to shoot in the Arizona hills with her grandfather, since she joined the Army at 18, since she spent 14 years being invisible and effective, since she made the choice on a Montana ridgeline to stop being invisible and start being undeniable. The work continues. And Maya Carter, sergeant first class, senior instructor, is exactly where she needs to be, teaching people to make impossible decisions. Because impossible is just another word for necessary. And necessary is what brings everyone home. Stories like Maya's remind us that courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, calculated, a decision made in darkness that saves lives in the light. If this story moved you, hit that like button, drop a comment below, and let me know where you're watching from. What would you have done in Maya's position? Followed orders or trusted your judgment? And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notification bell. These stories matter. The people who live them matter. And the lessons they teach us matter. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.